Good afternoon, everybody. We're good? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. I want to begin, as we always do, by acknowledging we're on Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis. I'm joined by Jay Shaw, Assistant Chief Emergency Management. I just have a few brief opening comments, and then Jay will provide you with a more substantive update on a few topics, and then we'll both be available to answer questions as always. Today we've learned from provincial health officials of 213 new cases in the city of Winnipeg, 349 COVID cases in the province of Manitoba, a record number of hospitalizations at 803 and 50 individuals in ICU. To put this in perspective, 6 months ago, there were, at that time, 292 total cases to date. 3 months ago, just over 1,018. Today, there are reportedly 14,907 cases to date in the province of Manitoba. In the last 7 days, there have been 1,709 new cases reported in Winnipeg and 2,914 new cases in Manitoba, with a test positivity rate that is far too high in the province of Manitoba and the city of Winnipeg. This underscores the need for all of us to continue to stick to those fundamentals, to wash hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance, and follow the recommendations from Manitoba Health. We all know that many city services have been affected as a result of provincial public health orders. We're doing our part to support the provincial government's efforts, and Manitoba Health in particular. While libraries have been closed over the past 3 weeks, Winnipeggers have communicated that they'd like access to pick up and return materials. So in response, the city will be providing contactless holds, pickup and return services at a number of libraries. And I want to thank our library staff, our public service, for the ability to innovate and provide services in new ways, much like we're seeing in the private sector. And Jay will provide you with additional information in a moment on that announcement. Next, I just want to speak to the leisure guide. With Winnipeg continuing to be in the critical or red of the provincial pandemic response system, the decision has been made to postpone all winter recreation programming through January until further notice. Again, Jay will provide an update on that. Unfortunately, the provincial public health orders have directly impacted city services and our staff. The public service, as we've noted in previous press conferences, has been reviewing options, including options for redeployment. This is why we've initiated dialogue weeks ago with the provincial government to see how our staff could possibly be of assistance to the province. As I've mentioned before, I think the province needs help, and we want to be there to provide help that might be of assistance to them. Employees are being canvassed as we speak, how they would like to proceed with potential redeployment, and we're looking forward to providing you with details on that when we can. We still don't have a specific or direct answer from the province regarding the potential of redeployment, but we're going to work with them and do what we can if and when they would like to have staff redeployed to support the provincial government's efforts. Lastly, I want to just talk about Black Friday. I know, look, Winnipeggers like a deal. And it's one of the trademarks of being a good Winnipegger is finding that deal and then telling all of your friends over and over again about the deal that you got. Black Friday is upon us. I want to, in the context of the pandemic, I want to ask everybody, retailers and Winnipeggers, to please do your part to maintain adherence to the letter and spirit of the provincial public health orders. And so to retailers, please don't consider breaking public health orders to hold in-person sales in contravention of the provincial public health orders. Try to do your best to limit gathering sizes and just make sure that you're putting safety first and foremost. And also to Winnipeggers, I know deals are very tempting, but I'm asking Winnipeggers, do your best to stay at home. If you can, shop online. Curbside pickup is something that is permissible, but just make sure that if you can do it not on Friday, it's going to limit the amount of gatherings or the potential for large gatherings. What I would just urge people to do, and I'll continue to urge people to do, is to support local through online and or curbside pickup. We all need to stick together, do our part to get through this, and so we can all ensure that those local businesses are there when the pandemic has passed. With that, I'll turn it over to Jay Shaw. I'll provide you with an update and then be available to answer questions on these or other topics. Thanks. Merci and miigwech.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. My name is Jay Shaw. I'm the Assistant Chief of Emergency Management. I'd like to start off with some safety messaging for all of our residents. I know many of us are looking for ways to keep active as winter settles in. You can follow the provincial health orders while still getting outside. Fresh air and sunshine are good for your mental health. This doesn't mean meet friends at the park. It doesn't mean organizing groups for large walks. This doesn't mean organizing pick-up hockey games. It simply means take a break, get outside, move your body, and let's stay safe. Learn to embrace the beauty of winter in Winnipeg, but do it safely. Residents are reminded to exercise extreme caution around all Winnipeg waterways. The Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service has responded to a number of water rescue calls in the past weeks. Ice surfaces are thin and fragile, and falling into ice-cold water can be deadly. All frozen bodies of water are unsafe for recreational use, especially the city's retention ponds. Many of the ponds located throughout newer neighborhoods. Ice conditions on retention ponds can change quickly and without warning, creating an extreme hidden hazard. During the winter, water from snowmelt or nearby water main breaks drains into the retention ponds. The winter runoff is often mixed with street salts that can cause ice to melt and thin quickly. The water enters the pond from underneath the ice, resulting in a thinning of the ice that can't be seen from the surface. Do not use these ponds as skating rinks or any other recreational activity. Parents, please speak to your children about the dangers of thin ice on our waterways. Dog owners, keep your dogs on their leashes around thin ice. I just want to take a moment to say that this is really important, and I want everyone to really take this message to heart. Moving forward, as you know, on October 31st, we closed all city-owned and operated recreation facilities, gyms, indoor pools, arenas, and libraries due to the Winnipeg metropolitan region being elevated to critical red on the provincial pandemic response system. However, we have heard from Winnipeg residents that they would like to be able to access materials from the library while they are at home. In response, I'm pleased to announce that the city will be providing contactless holds pickups and return services at 10 library branches across the city beginning on Monday, December 7th. This limited service will be in alignment with the current provincial public health orders. Contactless holds pickups and return services will be available at the following outlets: Charleswood, River Heights, St. Boniface, Pemmican Trails, Henderson, St. James, Millennium, Louis Riel, Transcona, and Sir William Stevenson. Customers will not be able to enter the branches. Customers will be asked to phone the library when they arrive to pick up their holds. Staff and customers are required to wear a mask, and customers should use the self-assessment checklist before arriving at the building to pick up their holds. As our city continues to be in the critical red zone on the provincial pandemic response system, the decision has been made to postpone all winter recreational programming. This means we won't be releasing a winter 2021 leisure guide or associate registrations. Traditionally, the winter leisure guide is released at the beginning of December, with registration starting in mid-December and programming beginning in early January. Despite the resumption of limited library services, the ongoing facility closures and the postponement of programming means the Community Services Department has approximately 600 temporary staff who are currently without work. The city has been working closely with the Canadian Union of Public Employees and to remove restrictions on collective agreements that exist for these types of employees. And as a result, the city has been able to explore options for redeployment of these employees. Calls to these employees are taking place today to determine if they are interested in being redeployed and to work out our next steps. However, the employees who are unable to be redeployed will be temporarily laid off effective Sunday, November 29th, 2020. Employees who are temporarily laid off will have access to mental health supports. And for those employees who are in the receipt of regular employment insurance benefits, the city has registered a supplementary unemployment benefit plan with the Government of Canada. This plan will provide a top-up of up to 75% of regular gross weekly salary for a period of 4 weeks while they are on temporary layoff. We recognize that all employees provide important services, and anyone affected by the temporary layoff should not see this as a reflection of their value to the city. As soon as it is safe to reopen city facilities and restart programming, we look forward to welcoming these important employees back to work. And finally, we need everyone to stay home. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance. We'll now take your questions from the media.
Charles from CTV.
Good afternoon. My first question is for Jay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit, Charles, but try.
Okay. The question I have is a ticket that was
Lost you there.
the owner of the had that operating gate, and it was a martial arts business, and that his classes were suspended. Was recently received a ticket for violating public health orders. But he said he's never actually received a ticket, even though city is saying he received one. Just wondering if there's any clarification you can give about this and potential reason for this ticket for enforcement.
Yeah, I don't have any information for you right now in terms of the ticket, but we'll look to get more information. The tickets do have all the informations on the back in terms of how to follow the next processes. But you broke up a little bit there, but I think the gist of the question is you're looking for more information for this individual, and we'll see what we can provide. But our bylaw officers are out there, and they're doing their best to be able to enforce the public health orders by the province of Manitoba.
All right. And do I get a follow-up?
Yeah.
Sure.
This is a different question with regards to the temporary layoffs. What redeployment and what positions could occur for some of these employees? Would it be similar to what was done in the spring when services were suspended?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we're working with the province on potentially looking at redeployment options to help the province out. But we are looking at some of the other options that we did look at in the spring as well. But we're just going through those processes right now, and we look forward to making sure that we can support the fight against COVID-19, and we're hoping that we can support our employees as well. So stay tuned. Like I said, we're just making those phone calls today, and we're doing our best to make sure that we have a plan in place going forward to help them out. So we've been working on this for a while.
James from the Winnipeg Sun. Oh, James has left us. Joyanne from the Free Press.
Hi. So what are the numbers, I guess, on this? How many of those 600 staffs that are without work do you think could be redeployed, and how many would be laid off on Sunday?
Yeah, great question. Right now, we're still working with the province to be able to assess suitability and the different types of work that could be done. We'll continue to work with the province, and as soon as we have more information on exact numbers, we'll let you know. But the first thing is to just keep, we wanted to keep our employees in the loop first and make sure that we provided them the proper information. And like I said, we're hoping to be able to help out in the COVID fight, and we'll continue to do that.
It was confirmed when I asked earlier, though, you expect there are some employees you wouldn't be able to redeploy.
Yeah, correct. I think it would be fair to say that not all 600 are going to be able to move over to the province, but or in other roles. But we do want to be able to make that offer and try and help out as much as possible. We're part of this, and we want to help out, so.
Okay, and I think that was my first question, still just clarifying there. So the second one, what are the provincial roles you feel they could fill, and what are the spring options you could revisit again? Just to refresh our memories, because that's...
Yeah, so in the spring, we looked at helping, in the spring, we looked at, we redeployed some staff, I believe, to Harvest. We helped out in a couple NGOs and non-governmental organizations, and really tried to help out with that fight to be able to get down to the micro level. The thing that's really interesting, and the part that I'm so proud of, is our community services folks. In my opinion, they've got hearts of gold, and the reality is that they're some of the employees in the city that are closest to our residents in terms of the programs that they serve. So they're engaged, and we're going to be part of this. We're part of the community. They're part of the community, and we're going to look at what we can do. Some of the provincial possibilities are in the administration. And sort of some of those administration functions that potentially could help out with the fight against COVID. So more to come.
Kevin from Global.
Good afternoon. Just a question about the reopening, the limited reopening of libraries. I believe back in the spring when you started reopening them again in phases, there weren't as many that open to holds and pickups originally. I think it was only a handful. Now you're reopening 10 of them. Why are you able to open so many more this time around?
Short answer, we learned from our experience in the spring in terms of being able to provide the service. It was a very successful program. People are passionate about their community services and their libraries, and we heard loud and clear. And as soon as we could figure out a way to do it in conjunction with the public health orders and make sure it was as safe as possible through contactless pickup now, we were green, go for launch, and we wanted to be able to provide that service to our residents. So,
my follow-up is on tickets. I saw that you handed out a few more tickets, I believe, over the weekend. Do you have any information on what those tickets were for? I think to individuals and businesses.
Yep, I have in total 6 tickets have been handed out to individuals for not wearing face masks, most recently 2 on November 20th and 2 on November 21st. And I have business tickets handed out, 3 of them, for businesses that were supposed to be closed but were found to be open.
Okay, Charles from CTV.
I have questions.
I think you said you had no further questions. Sorry, you broke up again. Joyanne from the Free Press.
Sir, did you just call me? I think it just muted off here.
Yes, I did call you.
Okay, I still can't hear you, but it sounds like you can hear me. I'm not sure if I'll be able to hear the answer, though. I guess I wanted to go back to what are the exact jobs in what provincial departments you think these people could work. Just a little more specifics on that, ideally.
Yeah, Joanne, I don't have those specifics for you right now. I can tell you that we have 9 bylaw enforcement officers working on reinforcement of the public health orders in regards to enforcement, and those are with the Minister of Justice and working with them. But we don't have specific details right now on where or if employees would go and work to help out with the COVID fight.
Sorry, I'm just going to get help because I can't hear any of this anymore. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, there seems to be something happening in our Zoom feed. Kevin, can you hear us from Global?
Oh my goodness. What's happening?
Kevin, do you hear us?
Do you want me to try from this mic? Kevin, can you hear us?
Maybe this is where how awesome we think the reporters are or something, so.
We're good. I think you can hear us again.
I'm just joking.
Yes, it was completely, that question completely.
Yes.
Like I honestly could barely even hear you
Yeah,
calling my
sorry,
name.
Joanne, that was our fault. Mute button.
Oh, okay. I was worried. I was looking for get an alternate one. So we'll go back to this then. So I'm just hoping for more detail. What are the exact provincial jobs or the departments these folks could work in? Just some examples of what city staff would be asked to do if they are, interested in being redeployed.
So, go ahead,
Maybe I
Mr.
can
Mayor.
just start at a very high level. I mean, we've known about these closures for several weeks, and we've been in dialogue with the province for some time. These employees and their services have not been, they're not needed at this time as a result of the provincial public health orders. And so our first option is obviously to see where they can provide services to our residents on behalf of the city, and that's the announcement today about the redeployment or the use of some of our staff for the library services. So that's hopefully our residents and patrons of our libraries can appreciate a more innovative service to be able to get you the books that you want to get from the libraries. The province has not made a commitment to any specific number of employees or specific roles, but the dialogue has been happening, and what we're currently doing is asking our employees how many would be interested in possible redeployment to the province or elsewhere in the community where they can make a difference. And so we'll remain open and willing to work with the province. As I've been saying for some time, I think it's clear the province does need help, and we want to provide that assistance. And where redeployed employees can help the province, that's great. But in the meantime, we still have to be responsible stewards of tax dollars where services aren't required. And so maybe Jay can pick it up from there.
Yeah, we're still working with the province, Joanne, to be able to determine what those potentials are. We do know they're in the the administrative function aspect, and just because you got to match up skill sets. So the city doesn't have 200 nurses or 200 doctors. Healthcare is not our file. So, but there are skill sets that are likewise in terms of some of the jobs that the people in the backgrounds are doing with planning and working on logistics and administrative functions to be able to support the COVID fight. So we're hoping to get more details as soon as we can.
I'm just wondering, because if you're calling people today, I would imagine you would have specific roles you're asking them if they're able to do. So what detail are those staff getting, I guess, when they get that phone call then?
It's more about just the recognition of what the options are right now, and to be able to inform the staff that we are looking at layoffs, but there are redeployment options, and to gauge the interest of the employees. It's very important that we maintain that connection with our employees, because if we don't and there's a break of communication, it gets harder and harder to be able to sort of get those messages out. So today they're making those phone calls to talk about redeployment options. And like I said, we don't have full details from the province yet, but the number one is to make sure that we're talking to our folks. They've been waiting. The employees in community services went through this in the spring, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of them.
Kevin from Global?
Yeah, I guess back to the tickets that we were talking about earlier. Dr. Rusin today mentioned how some nurses who are making contact tracing calls are getting harassed on the phone when people are being told to self-isolate. The nurses are kind of being harassed, basically. Have any of your employees, when they're handing out tickets or doing inspections, what is the treatment that they've faced been like? Have they received any harassments or anything like that?
I haven't heard of any issues so far with our 9 bylaw officers regarding harassment or any issues like that so far. But I will say that they're out there and they're doing those inspections. They're out there communicating, talking to Winnipeggers, and they're doing one heck of a job. So, and I think everyone recognizes right now that it's a time to be nice. It's a time to take care of each other. This is stressful for everyone, and I feel for the business owners, and I feel for the customers that want to be able to get their services. But right now, everyone is doing a good job of doing their best to follow the public health orders and stay home. And I just want to thank people for doing that. You know, I leave work, I go home, I stay home, I come back to work. I leave work, I go home, I stay home, and I come back. And everyone's doing that. A lot of people are doing that, following the rules. So thank you, because it's super important, and we're going to see the benefit of this coming up. We are going to see, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel here soon, and let's just keep going. We got this.
I'll just say it's disappointing to hear that if nurses are reporting that they're being harassed by folks on the other end of the line, that's obviously unacceptable. And I want to just offer our appreciation to all those in the provincial healthcare sector for all the work that they're doing, and would just ask everyone to treat them with the respect that they deserve. They're doing difficult work right now, and we need to do everything we can to follow the provincial health orders and recommendations, but also to deal with health officials and others that are helping our community weather this COVID storm, to deal with them with the respect that everybody deserves.
Are there any other facilities you're looking at reopening on a limited basis like you're doing with libraries? Is that even possible? Are any other facilities in consideration?
I'll just jump in there. The libraries aren't reopening. These are certain services, but the doors aren't being opened. So we're doing everything in accordance with what the provincial public health orders will allow. And as soon as we can reopen, I want to get them open and get folks back to work and get Winnipeggers back in those city facilities that can open as quickly as possible. The short answer is there's nothing else at this stage.
Yep.
Joanne, did you have any further questions?
Yeah, I guess I just want to make sure I describe this accurately. So the temporary employees that are being talked to about redeployment and or could face some layoffs coming Sunday, are those folks who work in like pools, arenas, some of the library staff as well? Is that the categories we're looking at?
Yeah, it's our temporary and part-time folks that do amazing work throughout all the recreation programming, and because of the public health orders and just the fact that we're all in a full-out fight with this COVID response, we've you know, recreation services have been halted right now, and those folks are you know, they're the lifeblood of the connection to our community with all those recreation services. So we're doing our best to get the phone calls out, to offer them an opportunity to look at redeployment. And as soon as we can get through this, and as soon as it's safe to do so, we want to get as many of these services open and back up and running.
Okay, but I mean, you don't, at this point, you don't know the portion of them that could be redeployed, or I know you don't have an exact number, but.
Yeah, I would say stand by, give me a little bit of time to be able to figure it out, so.
Okay. And Winter Leisure Guide, you mentioned it being postponed. Is it pretty much canceled entirely, or is there a hope that maybe a shortened version could come back later?
No, there's a hope. There absolutely is a hope. I don't want to make any promises, but what I'm seeing out there is people are following the rules and they're staying home. And what I'd like to see is a couple more weeks of strong, you know, folks being resilient and staying home, and let's knock these numbers down. And then let's take a look as we move through the holiday season, and let's see what January and February looks like with the restrictions. We have to follow the advice of Manitoba Health, and we have to follow the public health orders, and when it's safe to do so, we'll reopen. But there's obviously going to be planning in the background to see what we can do, and you know, what our potential options are for us to be able to have some sort of programming. Absolutely. But for right now, there's too many variables in terms of how long we might be in red, how long we might be in orange, and we just want to make sure that we're doing our best to keep everyone safe right now, and let's knock COVID out.
Kevin from Global, did you have any further questions?
I do not. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Joanne, just want to check, do you have anything left?
Yeah, in terms of transit service or jobs, is there any changes coming for that right now?
No, nothing in these announcements today affect Winnipeg Transit.
And then when would you have the overall number of employees who are going to be affected by the community services group that you're talking about today?
I'm hoping to get that information over the next couple of days, just as we start to work through and talk about the redeployment plans. We're still working with the province collaboratively. Good communication there, and we want to make sure that we're seeing what we can do to help out with the COVID fight.
We of course, can't speak for the province, though. I mean, what we're trying to do right now is identify how many employees are open to potentially being redeployed by the province, and when and if the province makes a decision to utilize their services, we'll obviously let you know and keep you posted on that. We just want to make sure that we are canvassing our employees so that there is hopefully a pool of individuals who can be available for the province's benefit to support their efforts.
Okay, further that, I guess if we don't have the exact roles, and this is Sunday that this could take effect, you're expecting all of that to happen over the next couple days, figure out exact roles, how many people could be redeployed, etc., would be known by the weekend?
Ideally, yes, but we may not hear back from the province until next week. So as soon as we hear, we want to support their efforts. But we can't speak on behalf of the province. But we're canvassing our employees right now, and these will take effect on Sunday.
Okay, so if you don't hear back from the province, is it possible that all 600 of those people would have to be temporarily laid off then?
That's a potential, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it could be all of them.
Correct.
Okay, but have you had feedback from the province? Do you feel confident that they want to have that assistance, that redeployment, or?
The best answer I can give you, Joanne, is that we're talking to the province daily. So, that's where we're at right now. We can get you more information next week.
Okay. Yeah, like that's come up before. That's why I wanted to know if there is a plan sort of in place, or the province has said they're just about to offer something, or if Sunday is sort of, that's going to be it if they don't. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Joanne, it's a lot of what ifs at this stage, but there's always the potential that if employees indicate their openness to being redeployed by the province, and the province lets us know at a later date, there could be a gap between Sunday and whenever they potentially get redeployed with the province. We're hoping that as many of them as possible can be redeployed with the province, and we think that the province needs some help right now, and we want to be there to support their efforts. And this is one way, but we can't speak on behalf of the province, and we want to just make sure that we're offering those resources if they can be redeployed.
Okay. Okay, but if nothing comes through before Sunday, it would be the whole group of staff, sounds like, from what we've sorted out here. Okay, and do you know, I guess, if there's any other city redeployment things that can be done, and how many staff could be?
Yeah, we have other options like we talked about before. We're looking at non-government organizations, so those are still absolute possibilities, and all of it is important. But right now, we're just waiting for information. So,
Do you know the number that could be shifting to those non-government Winnipeg Harvest options that have nothing to do with the province?
No, because it really depends on what everything works out collaboratively with the province. I think in the spring, I want to say we have between 20 and 50 folks go and work at Harvest. Off the top of my head, we'd have to get that number back. But all of these NGOs are going through tough times right now, and if we can support, we're going to do our best to support there too.
Okay.
You're good,
I think
Joanne?
that's yes, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Joanne.
All right, thank you. That would conclude today's media availability.
Have a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us.